Welcome back to Red Panda of Destiny, here for another episode of All Your Vehicles Are Belong to Us, the show where we collect all the vehicles from all the places. Let's figure out what we're doing here. I totally forgot what the numbers... This is the trouble with this, is it's numbers-based, so I forget. I think this is fun. No Suzuka. 8-cylinder, okay. And then a D-Class Asia. Eight, was it? Yeah. Still annoyed about how nonsensical this is. This is the most bureaucratic achievement I've ever seen. Like, why can't we just go through the list? Like, just go here and do a race. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's the right track, so... But no, we have to do them all, put in here. Oh, it was actually... So, ABCD, let's go find this. Crap, do we need to do the F-Class one? Should confirm that. I just realized we passed 1.5 million. We're 3/4 of the way to the next car. Cool, we can do it. So the last time I inadvertently discovered that you are able to do the reverse of a circuit and it still counts, I think. I'm not 100% on that, but that's what seemed to happen. We'll see. So the way this is going, we're not going to get to buy many cars. We've already won 33 cars, and we've only bought like 8, maybe more. We bought some Abarths and some Acuras. I think that was it. And now we're on the slog of Acura Le Mans cars, which are exceedingly expensive. And there's like 5 of them. Starting to realize how Forza managed to get 500 cars into this game. Helps if you put the same car in 5 times. To be fair, 2 of them are newer variants, but they're still basically the same car. And there's like 4 NSXs. So I imagine there's some asset reuse for the NSXs. They sort of built the parts that were the same first, and then they added the bits that weren't. So I don't know if this car retained any upgrades or if we are back to stock. Using the automated system, can't really tell. That guy's pretty competitive. Got 5 laps though, so I'm sure we'll pass him eventually. Nope, out of my way. It's probably more of a second gear situation right now, but whatever. Sure beats the McLaren F1 we were driving last week. That thing was a nightmare. This thing just sort of goes around the corner because you're only doing 70. Oh, maybe you can just stick it in third gear for the whole race. Sorry, car. Sorry. My bad. Sparky! Oh, it's just so dull. I want to downscale myself. But we were stuck in the Plymouth because it's the only one I have. And now we're stuck in this because it's F-Class and you can't go any slower. I wonder what the slowest car in this game is. Is it the... It might be the Hummer H1, possibly. Or the Datsun. I think the Datsun 510 might be the least powerful car, I want to say. That is one thing I will say that you can't do in this game, is you can't get a super low horsepower car. I remember I was playing Horizon 3, and I was setting up a car in every, like, 20 horsepower bracket, and there was actually a car in that game that has less than 20 horsepower. So I set up a car with precisely 20 horsepower. It was one of those old BMW bubble cars, the ones where the door is at the front. There's no reverse gear. It's like half a car length long. I think it's 3 wheels as well. Oh no, maybe the back wheels are just closer together than the front wheels. Yeah. That car had the weirdest characteristics. It was like, it had a lot of torque, up to like 10 miles an hour, and then the torque would die, and it had no torque left. I'm not sure if that was realistic, but it was hilarious. Because basically the rule for the builds were, you have the power limit, but you can do everything else to it. So it had, racing gearbox, racing transmission, racing brakes, everything. Anything that wouldn't change the power, it had. So the gearbox got a little bit ahead of the engine, I think. It's kind of fun to do those weird little builds. I suppose we could start buying other cars, but eh. Maybe we'll start saving up like 500,000 and then buying a cheaper car, something like that. But I feel like while we're unlocking them through upgrades, we may as well just wait till the... That's not what I meant. I meant level ups. While we're getting the prize cars, we may as well just use those as the end of the episode. But I would like to start buying the special cars I laid out, which are the cars that we're going to put actual cosmetic upgrades on, since those cost extra and there's no way we can afford to do it for every single car. Yeah, but I figured we'd have a couple special cars that get it. So far, I only own one of the cars that I was going to use, so... Well, basically, I picked my favorites from the series of races, the 8-cylinder, 4-cylinder, 3-cylinder, hybrid, all that stuff. So there's about 10 cars. And we took our favorite from each category and...
Now it's time for another attempt at racing your way through the Demurring International Raceway.
He always implies that we somehow failed to race around Sebring last time. So, club circuit? Club circuit. It was saying North America Tour, not World Tour? Okay, good. Just wish we could up the difficulty. trapping me in my F-Class car. Really, I want to be in a H-Class car. Be funny if this game integrated motorcycles and just went like with ridiculous things, like you could have a little scooter. It's like a little 50cc scooter. That'd be hilarious. Or a Grom. Just riding around a little Honda Grom. Too ridiculous? Probably. But I feel like motorcycle engines are something quite different from car racing engines. And it seems like a lot of games that try to do both fail at one. See Burnout Paradise. Why you ever thought motorcycles were needed in a Burnout game, I'm not sure. Game that's all about crashing. Especially when the game is rated E, and you can't actually show motorcycle riders getting hurt. Very strange decision making. MX vs. ATV, I remember being a pretty decent game. And I think some of those had interesting stuff in them. Like, what was one that had like monster trucks and off-road golf carts and whatnot. There was even one that had a plane, which was an interesting choice. I know the game Fuel has motorcycles and cars, though that game is just sort of meh in most regards, except for its map, which is very impressive. But bad gameplay, good map, doesn't really work. See The Crew and The Crew 2. Those are the modern day Fuel. Cool idea, dull gameplay. I was actually doing some research on those, I got the demos for both of them, and they're just disappointing. The maps are a bit weird. Like, they chose some really weird cities to model. Like New Braunfels, Texas. Why? There's nothing significant about New Braunfels except maybe it has a water park. That's it. It is New Braunfels, right? And yet, the capital of Texas, Austin, is not in the game at all. It's not like this is a small city. Then again, I think it was actually because it was a big city and they didn't want to actually make a big city and all this stuff. But it was just so weird. It's really a shame the engine that the American and European truck simulator developers use isn't really compatible with racing games. Because that would be interesting if they could use the same map for the truck simulator games for a racing game. You just race across the country. But their driving model is a little stiff. Works fine for a semi when you're never really exceeding 70 or 75, but for a racing game, it wouldn't work very well. It's an interesting developmental case, those games. Because it's like, normally you'd complain that a developer is continuously developing a game. Rockstar. But I honestly don't want them to stop. I want them to finish the whole of Europe and the whole of the United States. Because the more you can go, the more like value it has, in that it's an entire continent to explore. Not a particularly detailed continent, but a whole continent nonetheless. But I would like to see how far they go with the United States. I mean, I presume they'll do the lower 48. And presumably Hawaii wouldn't be too much trouble. That would not be a ridiculous thing, although it would be a bit weird. It's like, okay, go drive around Maui. I guess the question then would be, how many do you do? 3? 4? 1? You definitely do the Big Island and Oahu and maybe Maui. And then I don't know what the other one's called. I only know 3 of them. Sorry. Not sure what they do with Alaska, though. And I mean, I guess they could do the parts that have roads, so you could do Anchorage and what's the Fairbanks, right? Yes, those 2. But there's a lot of major towns in Alaska that aren't accessible by road, including the capital. I think in Alaska, first means of transportation is the airplane, second is the boat, and the third is a plane. Or car, sorry. But it would be cool if they had, what's it called? The Arctic Highway, whatever. What is it called? There's a road that goes all the way up to Dead Horse. It's a big, long dirt road they use to ship oil supplies. That part would be fun. I'm not sure how much extra work that would be for the developer, because I imagine they'd have to put in some snow mechanics and slush mechanics and stuff for that to really make sense. But I suppose they could always just throw in a dirt road. I mean, they already do dirt roads in the games, so why not? So I do hope they eventually get to at least the lower 48. Whether or not they want to add Canada, maybe at least British Columbia and Yukon just to connect Alaska. But once you've done those, then you may as well do the rest of the country, right? And then when you've done Canada and the United States, you may as well do Mexico as well. Although Mexico would be a different situation, I think. It'd be a little bit more new rules. Because I think the Canadian road rules are basically the same as American ones. They do use kilometers an hour instead of miles per hour, but the driving habits are basically the same. I think the Mexicans sometimes try things that aren't really done up here. Because I think I saw that there's a road in Mexico that the trucks like switch which side of the road they're driving on, because the road's so twisty, so they can take the outside of the corner every time. It's a very interesting concept. I imagine you have to go very slowly. You have to keep switching, because you obviously can't switch at the same time someone else is switching. You just sort of have to hope nobody's in the way. I guess the only real limit is they kind of have to stop when they get to Panama, because there's no road. That's the end of... Well, but it's called American Truck Simulator, so they'd have to, like, retroactively rename it North American Truck Simulator.
Today it's back to Baden-Württemberg, Germany, for a race on the Hockenheim Ring.
Ew! Autocross! I love me some autocross. Okay, so we want our best handling C-Class car here. Looks like... See, I took that last time. It was too slip and slidey. Well, that one's pretty good. I kind of want a small car. So I think the Alpha might be our best bet here. I'm actually going to see if we can't do some handling upgrades here. Oh, I can't even touch the suspension. Can I do anti-roll bars? Will these help? I don't know. Oh, crap. Well, it's got rear anti-roll bars on a front-wheel drive car. I don't know if that's helpful or not. Oh, you know what I should check? If I've actually done this race before. Didn't actually go in here because I'm an idiot. No, okay. Ooh, just over $400,000 to go. So this is really pushing the limits of C-Class. Maybe I should have picked something that's a little less fast. I could have got one of my D-Class cars and built it into the perfect C-Class autocross machine. Still optimistically trying to get the do an autocross without hitting a cone achievement. Which definitely a challenge, but I think I can manage it. That is the challenge, of course. Oh, and didn't quite fail it. Really thought I was going to hit that one. Oh, okay. We failed. We failed again. Hopefully we're okay. I mean, it's not like we don't have a bunch of these to do. Nope, missed it. I find the way they set up rallycross or autocross kind of funny here, and that you're doing it on a track when, like, the real point of autocross is you don't need a track. It's like that's why it's an entry level type of motorsport, sort of, or amateur motorsport, I should say. Because the point of autocross is it's very low risk, it's very low investment. You just need a parking lot and some cones. And you shouldn't need any insurance because your car shouldn't have anything to hit. Just to make sure your car isn't too top heavy. What is this? Okay, I kind of like that bit. Also, autocross is kind of deliberately low speed. Ah! How many have we hit? It doesn't... Oh, that's not good. No. No. How was that? Terrible? 129 out of 141. Oops. That didn't go well. I assume we passed, right? It didn't say I passed, but whatever. Looked like I was under the target time.
Today you'll get back on track at Northamptonshire, England's Silverstone racing circuit.
Why is the thing already ticked like we've been here then? Okay, international circuit. Why does it keep trying to make me do the 8-cylinder one? That's not the right one, is it? Definitely said international circuit. Let's just check the normal aspiration. Nope. Right, I don't think it's going to let us have something. Okay. I guess we can check that. Nope. Skyline Club? I was going to say those were predictably all Japanese, but one of them's German, so never mind. Have we driven that yet? This is an A class? Ah, nope, okay, we're using this car. Was going to get something a little slower, but never mind. Right. Und we're off. See how stable this Ferrari is. Hey, look, Sammy Hagar reference. Ah! Can't drive 55. Why did I get it there, though? So if you don't know the story of that song, it's basically a protest song about when they dropped all speed limits in the United States to 55 miles per hour. Even on freeways. Yeah. Very depressing. Luckily, they changed them all back in the 90s. Sadly, though, Montana changed theirs back to no speed limits, and then had to change it to having a speed limit because an overzealous cop pulled somebody over for doing 100 miles an hour, which he deigned to not be safe and prudent, which is what the law was written, is that you had to be doing safe and prudent speed. I'm not sure what the circumstances were, but if that was in a summer day on a dry road, that's pretty ridiculous, especially in Montana. That was the sad end of no speed limits in Montana. On Montana highways, anyway. Now, there are only 2 countries that have no limits anywhere. Actually, you know what? That's technically not true. There is sort of a place in Utah that has no speed limits. It's a dry lake bed, but, you know. Because you are legally allowed to go into the salt flats whenever you want, and go as fast as you want, I believe. It's something that's almost like unbelievable these days. You're like, what? You're still allowed to do that? I guess it's something to hit. So I give props to Utah for that. They're sort of the final place in America where you can go as fast as you want. For free. On public land. Let's put it that way. On public land, it's the fastest as you can go. And then, of course, the other countries are Germany, Nürburgring, and Autobahn. The weird quirk with the Nürburgring is it's technically a toll road. It's technically a toll road with no speed limit in one way. It's kind of a weird circumstance of that. And then, of course, they still have some unlimited autobahns in some places. And there's still, of course, the Isle of Wight. Sorry, the Isle of Man, not the Isle of Wight. The Isle of Wight is uninteresting. It's just an island that's part of England. The Isle of Man is a... what's it called? A crown dependency? Which means that it's related to the United Kingdom, but isn't a full member of the United Kingdom. They're they're a separate country until they get invaded, and then they call the British Army and they come and save them. I think that's generally how those countries operate, like New Zealand, associated states, and stuff like that. Mostly separate, but still fairly unified. But yeah, because of that, they do not have speed limits outside of their towns. Which is why they are probably my favorite country in the world. Just for that. Unfortunately, there's not really much work on the Isle of Man, so it's more of a retirement destination than anything else. What I find funny is people complain about the fact there's no speed limits. Oh, it's stupid. It's like, so don't go there. Like, there's literally no reason to go there unless you want to be there. Like, it's one island that's got no limits. And of course, there used to be a road in Australia, but they got bored with that idea. Ooh, is that too creamy? Nah, that's fine. So you'll note that this is not a Porsche. It's a RUF. And that's because of Porsche's weird licensing issues.
For today's event, we return to the Road America track.
But weirdly, once a tuning company starts to sell a version of that car, somehow the license passes to them, which seems like bullshit to me, but that's somehow how licensing laws work. I don't get it either. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Looks like we're getting a boutique supercar.